What's good, YouTube? It's Jay here. Today we're going to be taking a quick look at our Despia branded deck. The deck is really fun. It's got a lot of counterplay on your opponent's turn during your opponent's standby phases because everything is a quick play spell pretty much. You can do so many things during your opponent's turn, really. If you have a bad turn one, I mean, you know, the deck has the ability to recover. We've got so many quick play spells that are just capable of popping off and doing some insane kind of shenanigan. Favorite deck so far in the game next to Sword Soul. I really enjoy both decks, but some of the things you could do with this one are relatively, well, annoying, obnoxious, so to speak. The second version we've got right here focuses a little bit more on just draw power, cuts out the whole Edge Imp build. I'm testing both a little bit just to kind of see which one I like the most. Edge Imp, I feel like I've bricked slightly less with it for some reason. Maybe that's just a little inconsistency in the testing. But as we progress through the power rankings, I'm gonna try both versions out a little bit just to see kind of, again, you know, which one I like the most. So the very first replay we're gonna be taking a look here at today has the Edge Imp package. I'm also gonna be slowing down how fast I speak in these you know, replays and whatnot, because I do talk a little fast, I know. But I believe we were going up against I believe it's not Magispector, but I believe it's Endymion. Yeah, we're going up against Endymion. So I don't really know a whole lot about Endymions, honestly. I know they have a lot of text. I've played a little bit of an Endymion package in my IRL builds of Pendulum Magicians. Look, man, I don't really want to attempt to try to guess what every single card here does. I know the Endymion Master Magician has the ability to negate spell cards. That's pretty much it. But this deck in particular actually really caught me off guard with how consistent it was and how much stuff it can kind of just do. But I feel like there might have been a misplay here at some point or another. I feel like he kind of tried to do a little too much with some of the plays. I could be wrong. This could just be me, you know, guessing what was right and what was wrong. But when I was going through the motions playing against this, I felt like something was a little off. I feel like there was just a misplay here or there. So we're into the whole Pendulum summon shenanigans. We've got Electromite on the field. The good old stuff. I hope they really do unban Electromite IRL, because I would really like to play that card again in Pendulum Magicians. So we start off with a really crispy hand. We had every fusion spell in the game. We're gonna go for a super poly play into Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, just to get a couple of cards off of his side of the field. All of the Endymion monsters, for the most part, are, well, the heavy hitters are dark. And I believe he's also playing, yeah, the Mythical Beast. That's the other engine in the deck that I couldn't think of, but he's playing the Mythical Beast engine. So I kind of wanted to bait out his Endymion here, go for the negates, get rid of, it's gonna get rid of my field spell, unfortunately. And it's also going to trigger his Electromite, but I'm going to go for a branded and red play. He actually called by my Fallen of Albaz, which was okay. But luckily, I drew 4 fusion spells technically, if we count the field spell. We had quite a few cards to really play with here. So we go for Super Poly finally. And yeah, I go into Masquerade, the Blazing Dragon, and this card actually came in extremely clutch. So we're gonna go for Aliber, bring him back on the field, and then do a little bit of damage. He has to pay, you know, American tax dollars for every single move that he makes here. 600 life points per card effect or card that is activated. So next, I actually go into a Verte Anaconda play to summon DPE. I debated in my head if this was the right move, but after following through with it, I realized that it was. I mean, Starving Venom didn't really serve a purpose on the field. Now, granted, he could have Ashed here if he had the Ash, but luckily, he didn't. So we're going to end the turn on Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. Pop the Verte, pop his low-scale Endymion. I believe it is Servants. Yeah, Servants. So now he has to pay 600 life points to literally activate any singular card effect. He's going to realize this at some point. There's another 600 to... you can kind of see where things go here. He has to basically pay 600 to even play the game at this point. I'm going to trigger DPE to destroy his other scale, just in the event that he had something that he could have done here. But again, he's only at 300 life points, so I mean, it doesn't really matter here. And he crashes. So he realizes that there's not a whole lot that he can really I really do here. That was a fun game. I mean, like I said, having to pay 600 life points per card effect, it could be brutal. It could be really, really brutal. For the next couple of duels, some of them are gonna be L's, some of them are gonna be dubs. I don't exactly remember what this guy in particular was playing. Yes, this guy, he was playing Cosmos. I've never actually played against Cosmos, or I haven't in a very, very long time. I can't remember the last time I did. But we didn't have too many options here, so we're gonna go for Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, because it's the go-to play. Fusion Destiny is just such an incredible card. I actually set the Despia in comedy intentionally. I'm gonna use, I was trying to make more or less a play for branded in red. That was kind of one of the moves I was trying to make. So I actually ended up popping my DPE and my comedy. He gets out Dark Destroyer, and man, this deck is very hard to kind of play against because there's so many destruction based effects that Cosmo have. It can be quite annoying actually. So Brandon in red is going to obviously activate, and I believe we can't actually fusion something here. Now the reason being, I actually forgot why. I think I missed timing here. I think I don't know if I missed timing here. Oh, you know, no, we were under the effect of Fusion Destiny. I'm an idiot. Yeah, we were under the effect of Fusion Destiny. I ended up ashing his Dark Destroyer. Again, I've never played against Cosmo, so any of the moves I'm making, I'm just kind of freeballing and just basing it off of what I think is the appropriate play. But that Brandon in red play really was a stupid idea. It just didn't work out like how it should have. Not a great idea. Either way, we still kind of managed to bounce back a little bit. Cosmos are very consistent, more consistent than I actually realized. This guy was able to make quite a few moves. I believe this duel actually lasted about, it lasted definitely over 4 turns. It lasted definitely over 4 turns. For the record, I'm fully aware that popping Cosmo cards is a danger, considering that most of their effects are based off of the fact that, well, when they're destroyed by card effects, they do shenanigans. So I was taking a bit of a risk here with some of the moves that I made, but I mean, you kind of didn't really didn't have a choice. So I end up pretty much with a dead board on my side of the field. I'm going to take a little bit of damage here from Dark, which I believe her name is, I think, and Forerunner. At this point, I really wasn't sure what the next play was going to be. We still have that DPE engrave, but we do draw into a Lightning Storm. Oh, that's right. You know what? We have Celestial in the grave, obviously. So Pot of Greed, draw 2. I actually ended up popping the Allure because I didn't have a choice really. We already said comedy. So I popped the comedy with Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. Forerunner's effect is going to trigger I Chain Max C, so we can maybe draw into something decent or something we can discard with Branded Opening. So the moves we made, we're playing on resource. We're playing on fossil fuels here. We're running out. We're running out of ideas, but it's working overall. The plays are just going through, and this is the best commentary you probably ever heard in your life. Am I right? But we end on a turn of DPE with Oliver on the field. We're gonna activate Branded in red, and I believe go into Masquerade Dragon once again. Masquerade Dragon is just it's such a good damn card. Forcing my opponent to have to pay life points in order to just do, well, anything just puts me in such a good position sometimes. Because obviously they have to make moves if they want to do, you know, anything. So having to constantly pay life points to destroy things is, or pop and use your abilities is annoying. He attempts to pop my Masquerade, but I banish Branded Opening, which protects a fusion monster if it's potentially going to be destroyed by a card effect. DPE is going to get rid of Destroyer. He's going to end up having to pay another 600 life points to even do anything. Another Forerunner ends up on the field, and we lose the Masquerade Dragon, unfortunately. I don't really remember how things are going to play out from here, so we'll just kind of talk as we go. But we do bring back our Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer again, because it's just that golly of a card. I'm going to get rid of his Forerunner. And he's just gonna go for, I don't know what the next Cosmo he summons is. Man. Farm Girl. We have a face down in the lightning storm, so we get rid of his entire face of field. And now again, the benefit of having DPE is if you don't have any monsters, you know, you've got a free monster on your opponent's next turn that can also pop stuff. DPE is such a consistently insane card. You can literally clear your own board and have a pop for next turn. He gave up and just ended up smashing into my DPE, probably out of rage and anger. I mean, again, this DPE won me this entire duel. DPE won me that entire duel. I was able to stay afloat pretty much the entirety of it. Very annoying card to deal with. This is one of the duels I took a L in. The deck loses sometimes. It happens. You know, you just... your opponent can just play better. That's just common with Yu-Gi-Oh! Your opponent just plays better than you sometimes. So, we opened weird. This was a terrible hand. We bricked, really. But luckily we weren't going first. This guy, this deck was the deck that, this deck was, something else. We're just gonna turbo through this. So basically, you would think it's typical Sky Striker shenanigans. It is, for the most part. It's a deck. It's not a deck worth fully watching through, unfortunately. It's mostly going to be in this video for the memes, but there might be an entire separate video on this deck that's from one of my Twitch streams that I was streaming during this time. But you would think this is typical Sky Striker shenanigans. Again, I'm breaking harder than, well, than Blue Eyes, really. We barely draw in anything. We just constantly draw back-to-back useless fusion spells right now. We don't have any branded, or I'm sorry, not branded, but Despia monsters to kind of play with. Man. And this guy is going to end his turns pretty soon with so many damn cards in hand. I don't even really want to commentate the plays here because they're really not going to matter in the end. I misplayed by setting the imperm in the wrong column, by the way. Should have set it in the other columns where all the cards are. But yeah, this was just unfortunate. I thought this was going to be typical Sky Striker. And it pretty much was for the most part. Lots of card draws, lots of adding engage to hand. We draw our Dasher. I use Chicken Game to draw a card. And we use the field spell to summon Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. And just try to just do anything, really. It just never worked out. So I pop my Destroyer, and he obviously has the Shark Cannon, which is going to banish it. At this point, I knew it was kind of chalked. I just kind of went with whatever. I knew it just was not going to work out like how I wanted it to. So, I mean, Destroyer's still able to bring back a Dasher. He banishes, with Called By, he banishes my Celestial, preventing me from doing the Pot of Greed play next turn. And this guy pops Pot of Avarice and draws multiple cards. He recycles every single link in his graveyard, pretty much. I think there are still a couple left in there. Maybe like 3? Yeah, 3. And again, I don't have anything to follow up with this guy, man. He's got so many draws, so much draw power, so many searches. I don't have a play here. It's unfortunate. So, yeah, he's just beating the ever-living hell out of me. And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, maybe I can deck him out. Potentially, could I deck this guy out? Because he's searching everything from his deck. He's drawing so much. And it didn't click in my head why he's drawing so much. So he's gonna end up having to discard, I believe, like 6 cards from his hand. He had about 13, I believe, or 12 maybe, I don't know. He plays Maxi, so this is what makes me think, okay, maybe I could deck him out. So I try to go for as many fusion summons as I humanly can, and then you know, the plays are just kind of gonna happen. I also wanted to try to burn him for as much damage as possible. But we're going to Double Masquerade. He's going to take control of my other one. And I forget that we cannot do literally any kind of damage or attack or anything. So, again, try to just stall it out. Try to make him deck out. I believe he only has about, yeah, 4 cards in his hand. And he has Exodia. So... I lost to pretty much Exodia, because otherwise, I mean, at that point, he was kind of in trouble. Couldn't really literally do anything else. And for this last duel, it's a pretty short one. I believe it was only about 3 turns long. We're gonna be playing against some Cyber's Link shenanigans. So you might be a little critical of what kind of decks I play against, but there's just so many different decks you could play in this game right now that are playable. Like, the game is extremely broken. There's so many dumb things you can do. But at the same time, that's semi what makes it fun. Almost everything is viable. Considering we're in a best of 1 format, I'm looking forward to the day we are in a best of 3. Please, Konami, give us a best of 3 format. I beg you. I would love to have some side decking options here. There's just so many different viable decks that you can kind of play around with. Again, I'm glad I don't do live commentaries of these games during the games, because they take so long with how many shenanigans my opponent is doing, how long they're deciding on their moves. It's one of the downsides of playing digital Yu-Gi-Oh! There's so much thought put into it. And again, with IRL Yu-Gi-Oh! There's a lot of thought put into your plays as well. But I mean, the time passes a little bit faster. Where you're sitting here just staring at a screen for the longest, and your opponent is just struggling to decide what to do, it can get a little annoying. So we make a branded and red play here. I don't really know if this was the move, but I don't recall why exactly I did that. I don't think that was a necessary move. It does get the tragedy live, so I believe that's kind of what I was trying to go for. It's again a little unnecessary, but you know, it doesn't really matter in the end. We've also got to face down Super Poly, which turns out to be very useful, and I think we can actually just fast forward from here, honestly. He's gonna keep paying 600 life points to pretty much activate any card effect. Lots of special summons, lots of damage he's gonna be taking. I Super Poly here, getting rid of his Code Talker, some Starving Venom. I'm gonna bring back a secondary Masquerade, and I think, yeah, he goes into Axis Code Talker. So again, this was a very debatable play on my part. I don't think it was necessary. I was just afraid of him getting whatever else out. Again, this wasn't really necessary though. So I mean, Starving Venom's gonna die, so are all of his faceless special summon monsters. Then he summons Cyber's Clock Dragon, which actually threw me off. I've never seen this card played anywhere outside of the anime. We're gonna make a future summon play for Quartus. Then we're gonna get a couple more summons here and there, some more searches off of Oliver, get another branded and red in hand, get rid of this, and then go for a game. Again, I don't think that Super Poly play was probably necessary. It was a little early for it, honestly. So going back, backtracking kind of what I said earlier, a lot of what you saw was mostly played using this build here for the most part. Again, we had a couple of moments where we break. I have a bad habit of drawing Celestial. I'm noticing more and more. I draw this card more than any of my main deck starters, any of my, you know, better cards. Celestial somehow just always ends up in hand, pretty much. I want to cut this down to a 40 card build because I think that having the whole Edge Imp package is well, it's frankly insane. I mean, it dumbs your deck down to what? 36, 34 cards ish, because these all can search each other for the most part, except, you know, Poly can't search anything. But I have fun with this deck. I think it's really, really cool. I'm going to keep grinding with it till we get to Diamond. There are a lot of shenanigans with it that you can really pull off. We're still missing a lot of key core cards that make up the Despian strategy. You know, all the other Despian dragons, the branded dragons, Mirror Jade, all of those crazy cards that really allow us to, you know, pull off some really cool things. Withdrawal is another card I potentially might cut. I mean, I didn't see a whole lot of play with it, unfortunately. I think I'd rather keep the Harpies and the one Lightning Storm in deck, but we'll see. I enjoyed this deck. I think it's a lot of fun, and I just kind of want to know what your thoughts are about it in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, everybody. Be sure to leave a like on the video, sub to the channel, and see you in the next one.